This is World Awakenings, the fast track to enlightenment with your host, Carl Gruber. World Awakenings is a podcast dedicated to opening your mind, your heart, and your eyes to the fact that the world's population is now, more than ever, awakening to all things spiritual, metaphysical, and enlightening, and just how they play an all-important role in our daily life. So join Carl on this enlightening experience as he interviews metaphysical and spiritual experts to discuss, debate, and delve deeply into the hows and whys of this worldwide awakening.
It's happening.
It's in the air.
The time is now.
We're all waking up.
We're waking up.
We're all waking up.
It's all shifting.
New vibrations.
It's you.
It's you.
It's me.
It's all of us.
Together.
A new time.
A new day.
A new energy.
A new energy.
A new reality.
Awaken with us.
Awaken with us.
Awaken with us.
NewRealityTV.com.
You've seen and read my 3 Pillars ebook, and now I'm proud to announce my new book, True Spirituality and the Law of Attraction, a beautiful symbiotic relationship, and it's now out and ready for reading. This new book of mine is a full-length version of the teachings of the 3 Pillars, and in it I show you how to walk in the integrity of eternal universal laws, in step with the law of attraction to consistently create the life you desire. Now, if you've ever wondered just why you can't consistently manifest all the good, loving, abundant, healthy, and happy things you desire, my new book, True Spirituality and the Law of Attraction, will reveal the key in how to do just that. Plus, help you build a rock-solid personal foundation that will stand strong for the ages. Get your copy today. My new book, True Spirituality and the Law of Attraction, a beautiful symbiotic relationship by Carl Gruber. Available now in ebook and paperback on Amazon.com.
Hey, welcome friends. I am so glad that you can join us for today's show, episode 222 of World Awakenings, a fast track to enlightenment. I'm your host, Carl Gruber. Now, we have listeners and viewers from all over the world, so no matter what your language, where you live, or what your culture is, if you have an interest in all things spiritual, metaphysical, and enlightening, then you are in the right place at the right time, right here, right now. So with that, let's meet today's guest. And Lynnsey Robinson is our guest. She is a certified hypnotherapist and intuitive guide, teaching you how to attract the highest level of your personal and professional success. She loves to help ambitious women align their minds with success, releasing limiting subconscious blocks, and essentially get 100% of their mind working to manifest a life they love. I love that mission. She has a huge number of certifications and education in everything from clinical hypnotherapy to past life regression to advanced emotional freedom technique, also known as EFT or tapping, and yes, even some Hawaiian Ho'oponopono, aloha sister. Lindsay is also the host of her own popular podcast called Vibin It. So with that, welcome, Lindsay. Welcome to World Awakenings.
Thank you for having me. I'm very excited to talk today.
Oh my gosh, I was looking through all the huge list of certifications and education you have. I don't know how you found time to get so many, but first, I really would like to discover where you were as a youngster and what led you down this path to being and doing all that you are today.
Yeah, well, I think that possibly a lot of people can relate to the next sentence out of my mouth, which is I was a weird kid. And I love weird kids because they grow up to be the best adults, usually very compassionate and just want to help. And, the healers that I know were all weird kids. So I take it as a compliment. But yeah, I always was just so fascinated in what made a human being. Like, what are we beyond the physical and the spiritual side of it? But I didn't really translate it to spiritual stuff. I translated it to ghosts because that's more fun, I guess, as a kid. So I would always be in the cemetery, like trying to figure out how people died by touching their tombstones and, the normal stuff that 12-year-olds do in a cemetery. But I wanted to be a ghost hunter as a kid. I wanted to just like track down all the spooky stuff. And as a teenager, after I graduated high school, I translated it into criminal psychology. I needed to know how the mind works, and especially the mind of, like a serial killer or someone that is so different and needs to fulfill some sort of need that I didn't understand. And I needed to understand, is that thirst for, I guess, knowledge. And so I started studying criminology and forensic psychology, and realized very quickly I'm not cut out for all that death. Just not. It's not really my vibe. I thought it was. I tried. Shout out to anyone who can do that job. I cannot. So right around the same time, my sister gave me a book called Journey of Souls by Michael Newton, if you are familiar. And he is a hypnotherapist, who took his clients on the life between life, which is the idea, if you are on board with reincarnation, the idea is the in-between life stage where you are choosing your next life, who's going to be there, the lessons you're going to learn, and how you're going to add to the tapestry of your soul's journey. And so for me, that book really kind of clinched it. It was the thing that I didn't know I needed, that filled all the blanks and checked all the boxes for what I was looking for, things I didn't even know I was looking for. So right around that time, I was 19 years old. So it was a very big, I guess, moment in anyone's life where they have to really figure out who they're going to be as a human being in the world. And they can't hide in high school or under the shelter of their parents anymore. And they have to actually like step out into the world. And so it was happening all at the same time. And I decided I was going to move to California to learn at the Michael Newton Institute and just become a hypnotherapist. And so I did. I moved to California by myself. I was 20 years old, and I figured it out I think I lived there. I lived there for 10 years, I believe. And then moved to Vegas with my kids and my husband. But yeah, that was really the moment where I was like, this is what I want to do. And there's no going back. And there were bumps in the road. Like, I moved to LA and then forgot all about hypnotherapy, because you learn very quickly that it's expensive. You need a job immediately, like yesterday. And so I got caught up in, the everyday life. But then when I had my first son in 2012, I remembered it was 8 years after I had moved, after I first, had this inkling. And I thought, why can't I do it now? Like, I have a son. I don't want to go back to a retail job and do a crazy amount of overtime. I want to be home with my kid. And so how can I make that happen while still doing this dream that I've had for a long time that made me really excited when I thought of it? And I had a moment where I almost let the fear give in, where I had to get, I heard the voice that said, you need to get a real job. How dare you try to do something fun? How dare you try to do something that lights you up, that you're passionate about? You're a mom now, so go figure it out. And I almost believed it. But the other voice, the voice that I now know was my higher self, my intuition, my soul, was like, but why not? Why can't you have both? Why can't you like it and be able to stay with your kid and make a good living off of it? And so if I hadn't listened, I don't know where I would be, but I did, and ended up going to an institute, studying for a year, doing my clinical hours and graduating with honors. And here I am. So, I mean, it's a lot of twist. For me, it felt like a lot of twists, a lot of moments where I could have said, nah, a lot of moments where I could have just gone back to doing the same thing that I always did, but I wasn't going to let it happen. And I think that if I hadn't had my son at that time, I might have. And I want to be the person that would say, no, I would do it no matter what, but I'm not going to lie to you. My kid and my desire to be home with him and to actually make my own hours and spend time with him as well was what put me over the edge to like, no, I'm going to figure this out. So, I mean, he was my motivation for sure.
So that, it's interesting too, the decision to, should I just keep working a retail job or should I pursue my passion? One of my guests recently who went on the path of career burnout, and she kind of did what you did and followed her passion. She calls those people who stay within the job just for the paycheck the golden handcuffs.
Right. Yes. I mean, yeah, that's absolutely what it is.
It
Feels
really
right.
is it. But what was the name of that book again? Your favorite book again?
Yeah. So it's called Journey of Souls, and there's another one called Destiny of Souls. So if you
By
look, Michael Newton, yeah, if you look up his name, you'll find his whole collection of works, and he has passed, but I I will always credit that book to the way my life looks right now. I had no idea what a hypnotherapist was. What the heck is that thing? What do you do? And when I learned what it was, it just everything clicked into place for me.
Well, and with that in mind, hypnotherapy being your main practice, can you explain to us what hypnotherapy is and how it works?
Yeah, because I didn't know. Let's learn together. So if you can, I'm gonna try to do it the simple way because I tend to like to complicate things when I say them. So I'm gonna try to explain it the way I explained it to my husband when I first told him and got him on board with what I was doing. Uh, Basically, if you could imagine the mind as a circle, when you're born, right? It's just not the brain. The brain is the physical part, but the metaphysical mind. Let's just imagine it as a circle. And so when you're born, you have two fears, the fear of loud noises and the fear of falling. Those are the only two things you're biologically wired to be afraid of. Also, the fight or flight response, which is triggered by the fear of loud noises or the fear of falling. So as you go through life, children kind of take in everything. That's why I say kids are sponges. We're always taking in all this information and learning things about ourselves. So I love chocolate. I don't like broccoli. I love Christmas. I don't like Halloween because it's too scary. Whatever you individually like or don't like about yourself, you take it in as true. These are the truths that you hold about yourself. As you hit about 7 to 9, it's different for everybody, but in that range, you get what's called a critical filter or a critical mind, which acts as the new barrier go-between between the newly formed conscious mind and the subconscious mind. The conscious mind is about 5 to 10% of your mind power. I'm sure we've all heard some version of this statistic. It gets smaller every time I look up a new study. So people are estimating all kinds of numbers, but it's a very small percentage of your mind that is the conscious, and that holds your decision-making skills, your rationalization, your analytical skills, your logic, your reasoning, your willpower is all in the conscious mind. In the subconscious are these truths that you have about yourself, those facts that you know, and also the things you don't have to think about. So riding a bike, if you learn to do that, you don't have to remember how to do it every time. Writing, driving, speaking, all these things are, and blinking and breathing, all these things are automatic. You don't have to think about them. Those all live in the subconscious, which makes up about 90 to 95% of your total mind power. So that's kind of how that's where we're at right now. So we've got the conscious, we've got the subconscious. Our minds are how they're going to be for the rest of our lives. 9 years old is a very pivotal age because anything that happens before that, it's basically when the lockdown happens. Anything you've learned up to that point is going to get in the subconscious almost always. Now, of course, if trauma happens or if a big event happens after 9, you can still hold it as true. It doesn't mean that everything stops when you hit 9, but that's when that barrier forms. And so when we ask about your childhood, there's a really good reason we're doing that, because it's so much of your mind is formed during that time, and so much of who you are is formed during that time. So we're all just 9-year-olds walking around in grown-up costumes, really, if you think about it that way. But when you have an idea or a thought or a goal or an inspired, new inspiration, it starts in the conscious mind, which then checks in with the critical mind or the critical filter. And then I think of it as like a bouncer in a club. So it's checking the clipboard for anything that goes against that goal you have in the subconscious. So if there's anything in the subconscious that doesn't vibe with this new goal you have, it's going to kick it right back out. And that's why we always feel really excited in the beginning, and then we kind of lose our steam. The negative voices start coming in because that's your subconscious trying to prevent this goal. Why is it preventing the goal? Because it's trying to keep you safe. Remember, everything that you know is true about you is in your subconscious. So if there's a new truth, it's going to feel to your subconscious just as dangerous as a known danger. So it can feel scary when you're trying to introduce something new to your subconscious. So what I do with hypnosis is I take that new goal, belief, inspiration, and I create a barrier through the critical filter. So we're able to access the subconscious, get its ears perked up so it's actually listening to what you want to do. And we are essentially teaching your subconscious that it is not only safe to have this goal, but it is the natural next step. It is inevitable, and it is just your new normal. And once you can get your subconscious on board with your goal, it is already, the reality is already shifting around that goal. And I know we've all experienced this to some extent, but any goal you've ever achieved is because your subconscious said yes. Any goal you're still trying to work for is because your subconscious is like, wait a second, we never talked about this. This isn't part of the script. What do you mean? And so it's just a matter of teaching your subconscious. You do have control, you do have skin in the game, and you do have a say in what your beliefs are. So that's what I love to help people remember.
So when you're working with a client like this in hypnotherapy, you're actually hypnotizing them. And is it effective because you take them down? What is the brainwave, the theta?
Yeah.
Where hypnosis happens, and what does that take you below the top layer of the onion, and they can actually
Yeah. So a nice way to think about it, and maybe an easy, simple way to think about it, is when you're driving the body throughout the day, the conscious mind is in the driver's seat. The subconscious is just in the back sleeping, right? It's still there, but you don't have access to your subconscious all the time. And when we practice hypnosis or a deep meditation or any kind of trance-like state, what we're doing is bringing the subconscious to the passenger seat so that it is still aware, and you as the conscious driver are still always in control, but you now have this partner that is receptive, ears are perked up, it's listening to what you want to tell it, whereas usually it's just kicking back, listening to music in the back seat. so yeah, we get you to a very comfortable theta state, and I'm then going to essentially tell you what you told me to tell you when you were conscious, in a state where your subconscious is now listening and receptive to whatever you're telling it. And it may take a couple sessions, it may take a couple weeks, but it is the hack, it is the shortcut, it is the fast lane to getting where you want to go, way beyond just conscious work.
And my understanding is, I mean, you mentioned the 9-year cutoff as a child. I've heard 7 years old. So basically, kids are in that theta state all the way until they're 7 or 9 years old, right?
Well, it might, see, that's a good theory, and I don't know that that's not true. I guess I would word it different. I would word it in a way to say that kids are constantly walking around taking in information, whereas because that critical filter, the subconscious, hasn't formed yet. So it is just a receptacle. Now, once your filter, forms, you now have the ability to decide if something's true or not. For the most part. Okay. We all have beliefs that we've been carrying around that we know aren't true, but they got in there somehow, and we can choose to keep them or release them. But kids are very suggestible. They're the easiest category to hypnotize because they're already in a slight, I would say, they're already in a slight state of trance usually. So they go in really easy. They have no, if you tell a toddler that the color of the sky is green, not blue, it's going to believe you because it has no idea how to discern fact from fiction yet until they get a little bit older. So that's about 7 to 9. Do you
know about, or do you do any QHHT, quantum hypnosis healing technique that Julia Cannon invented?
I have looked into it. I got introduced to it after I'd already completed my training, and I didn't want to muddy up my waters too much. but I have heard good things. I haven't really studied it too much or looked into it too much, but it sounds very similar. A lot of these hypnosis techniques and practices have this pretty much the same underlying effect, which is let's get you to a state where you can receive information and then give you the information. So there's a lot of different methods. There's a lot of different ways to do that. But it's all good.
I've had a number of QHHT people on my show, and I actually did a session with a woman who was training for it, and it was pretty interesting. Julia Cannon, the late Julia Cannon, is very respected in that area.
Yeah.
But I'm also curious as to your ability and expertise as an intuitive guide. What does that involve?
That is the word and the term I chose for me, not hiding from the fact that I'm a little bit psychic. Because for a long time, one of my beliefs that I grew up with that wasn't mine is the belief that any kind of psychic ability is bad. And once you open the door, you can never close it again. And, that sort of thing. And I had to do a lot of work around that because I refused to claim it, not because I thought it was bad, just because it can't be me. Like that's them over there. It can't be me. And that's exactly what I thought about hypnotherapy at first. Well, that's something for other people to do. That's not something I just have to go get a real job. They can do that. And I really had to work on why I believe that. Like, why the heck can't I do this? And I truly believe everybody is a little bit psychic. I definitely believe everybody is intuitive. And me, slapping that label on myself was my way to kind of claim it for myself and welcome the evolution of that, however that looks. It already happens in session. Sometimes I'll say something and the client will say, like, how the heck how'd you do that? And I'm like, I don't know, I just did it. Sometimes I'll talk to clients and I know that I'm channeling, meaning I know that the wisdom that they're getting from my mouth is not from my brain. It's from something else, maybe my higher wisdom or their guides or something. So it's really just me being open to it. I translate it as, little metaphysical connections that happen during session and synchronicities that the client just loves when I'm in session. And I do too. It amazes me every time. And it's me just welcoming more of that, because I think we all need to own our gifts a little more. And why not just show people that I can do it too?
I really believe you're right that we all have some intuitive abilities. A few years ago, I had a friend who had a cancer diagnosis, and I just knew. I knew he had it. He got it. I mean, it was not going to affect him. He was going to live a normal life. I just knew it was over and done with already when he just got the diagnosis. Sure enough, many years later, he's running and doing triathlons and biking 100 miles. And I mean, it was just an intuitive knowing. I knew that he was going to be perfectly healthy in the long run.
Well, and see, this is why I think the work that you're doing and the work that I'm doing and the work that so many people are doing is so valuable, because what I understand is that you remind people that they are magnificent and they are powerful. And that's what I strive to do. That's the only thing I want to do. If I can help someone remember how amazing they are and how powerful their mind is. Placebos, man. Yeah. Placebos. Do you know how powerful your brain is to trick you to think that actually worked? It works for better, for worse. Our subconscious can trick us and tell us that what we want, we don't deserve, because it's secretly trying to protect us from the unknown. It loves us that much. It's never trying to sabotage you. It's just trying to keep you safe. So it can feel like that. It can feel like, oh, it's sabotaging me, or it doesn't want me to have this, but it's really just, is this safe to have? Mm-hmm. And if so, you got it. You already got it. So yeah, I think that it's important that whoever's listening to this, whoever needs to send this to their friend or their family member, you are so much more powerful than you've been led to believe. And that's all we're trying to do, is remind you of that.
Man, I bet your son is pretty lucky to have a mom like you.
That's 3 now. 3 sons.
Wow.
I know.
I have
3
a
boys.
cat.
I have 3 sons, 2 cats, and 6 chickens.
Oh, I love it.
But the chickens actually pay rent through eggs, so they're doing their part.
Well, evidently you work mainly with women to help them overcome subconscious blocks to achieve the success they seek. What are some of the biggest subconscious blocks women deal with?
Well, I would say, and I do work like mostly with women. I do see men on a case-by-case basis. I have to meet everybody before I work with them. But I understand women better. So that's kind of who I speak to the most. But I think the underlying thing, and I think I already brought this up, but the underlying thing I notice with almost every client, whether they come to me for money, abundance, I want to manifest success, I want to manifest a relationship, I want to teach my brain that I deserve, that I'm worthy. It really does come down to worthiness, I think, because anytime worthiness and safety, right? So if you feel like you deserve it and you are worthy of it, but is it safe? Is it safe? Because that's the only question your subconscious needs answered. Is it safe? If not, it's not going to happen. If it is safe, then it's already happening around you and you'll see it like almost immediately. Our minds are goal machines. They're constantly churning out goals based on what we believe is possible for us and what we believe is safe for us. So you, the listener, you, Carl, me as well, we are exactly 100% successful at our goal achievement within the terms of who we believe we are capable of being. So we're 100% successful. That's pretty cool. Now, do you want to be something different outside of the box that you are right now? Do you want more? And in that case, yeah, we need to teach your subconscious that it's safe. So I would say the thing that they deal with the most is safety. Now, the thing they present with, what they come to me for, is usually around money, relationships, success, things like that, empowerment of some kind. My favorite thing to work in is spiritual hypnosis, which is past life regression and higher wisdom and meeting your spirit guides and all that kind of stuff. That's where I like to do my best work.
Well, and you mentioned unworthiness. I'm a longtime life coach, and I have to say that is one of the biggest, if not the biggest thing that I deal with people. Many people just, they have these ultimate dreams and goals, but they don't feel worthy of having it. And a lot of that is family type of entrainment. Oh, nobody in our family ever did that. Why should
right?
That type of thing. And to get people to understand they are worthy of their greatest dreams and goals is a big achievement.
Well, and here's something that somebody said this, I don't even know how long ago, but it always stuck with me. And I try to remind myself of this as often as possible, which is, let me put it to you this way. If the only reason you have this goal come into your awareness, what if the only reason you're aware of this goal or desire is because you are already attuned to it, because you are already worthy of it? You know how many people want red Corvette? I have no desire to have a red sports car, but there are so many people that do. And what if they want that because that's what's attuned to their reality, and it's not that big of a leap for them to get it because they're aware, that's the awareness that they're in. The point is, you wouldn't be aware of the goal if it wasn't for you. I truly believe that. You wouldn't want it if it wasn't for you. Mm-hmm. If you want it, there's a way to get it. Your only job is to figure out how to get it in the least painful way possible. Meaning probably a lot of mindset work and inner child healing.
Mm-hmm. Well, and too, you just touched on some spiritual stuff. You do things, spiritual, metaphysical areas like tarot, past life regression, which you mentioned, chakra, energy balancing, and yes, even some Hawaiian Ho'oponopono. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I've had Dr. Joe Vitale on as my guest.
Oh, we had him on our podcast in the beginning. I love him so much.
Perhaps the biggest proponent of Ho'oponopono, the Hawaiian spiritual tradition, and he used to work with Dr. Hugh Lynn, who invented it, or basically, well, the Hawaiian kahunas did, but yeah. So how did you find Ho'oponopono?
Through him. Honestly, I had no idea what we started the podcast. Okay, well, that's not true. I did learn about it in my training in like 2013, 2014, but I didn't ever pursue it. And then when we had Joe on, he talks about it all the time. And I was like, so can you like break it down, like what this actually is? And I did actually ask him and dug in deeper of what it actually is and how it heals. And yeah, he's the one that inspired me to do the certification. It's been a long time, but I do try to, a lot of these practices are things that I try to remind myself of as often as possible. And I really want people to understand this is not a situation, life in general is not a situation where you heal and then you're done, right? Like it's just not a thing. You're constantly evolving, you're constantly working, you're constantly trying to remind yourself of those things that you remembered when you were powerful and now you feel low and depressed and sad and you can't remember any of those things. It really is just such a journey. So these things that I bring to the table, these things that I teach my clients are also things that I do work to remind myself of as often as possible. Nobody has it completely. Nobody has it perfect. And so when I do my podcast, when I talk on anyone's podcast, one of my main things is just telling people like, it's okay to be where you are. It's okay to have crappy days. Sorry. It's okay to have low vibe days. We're humans. We came here to feel it all. And so if you can just take one or two of these practices and remind yourself as often as possible, do a gratitude journal. It can be that simple, as often as you remember. And you're not going to remember every day, and that's okay. Like, be where you are is really something that I try to. We don't give ourselves enough compassion. We don't hold space enough. I know I got off topic, but I really wanted to say, I needed to say that.
Well, and two, honestly, I mean, how many thousand judgmental thoughts a day do we each have? And, much of that judgment bounces back to ourself, of course, and we're hard on ourselves.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And I do the same thing. I could wake up in the morning and feel so motivated to clean my whole house and clean my whole house. But the one bathroom that I forgot to sweep the floor, I'm going to be thinking about that all day. And this is why I say, like, it is a thing that you have to keep working at. You have to keep trying to have compassion and be patient with yourself and love yourself and hold that inner child who didn't get that as a kid. Be the person you needed. And I think that's something I'm always working on doing. And it's not always easy, but it is always worth it. It's always worth it.
See, you can be a successful hypnotherapist still in your bathroom.
Still got to clean that bathroom, especially with 3 sons.
Oh, yeah. Right. So, you do these other things, like, I'm interested. I wonder about this, like, you do tarot cards. Now, yes. To me, that's a very metaphysical area. I mean, how does tarot fit into what you do? And what exactly do the tarot cards do? Well, the more I do any kind of spiritual or, I guess, woo-woo work, the more I realize it is all about intention. If you want to write your intentions on the new moon, can I say the date today, by the way? Oh, yeah. So today, it's your 222nd episode. Yep. It's on the 22nd. Okay. It is. So, and it's on the new moon. Today's the new moon. And today is the fall equinox. It is. So listen, if you're into this sort of thing, today would be a really good time to set intentions. And I don't care if you're listening to this a week later, 2 weeks later, a month later, whenever you're listening to this, if you want to sit down and write your intentions, it's never a bad idea. It's all about intentions. It really is. This is how powerful you are. So the reason and the way that I use oracle decks or tarot decks is it's part of my intuitive guidance. It's part of my intuition, part of my work. And so I will, after we do the hypnosis, I'll just shuffle my cards and I'll ask the client if they have an intention that they want to put into the cards, or if they want me to just say, what do I need to know right now? And then we just give them a few cards to take them along in their week. Sometimes they hit the nail so hard on the head. If, let's say, they were trying to go back and forth between a decision and they didn't know what to do, and they feel into it and they know what they want to do, but they don't know if it's the right thing to do. And just me telling them maybe does something, but then them seeing, oh my gosh, that's the perfect card. Oh my goodness. It for some people, it just lines things up in a way that speaking about it or journaling about it, it will just add to that magic. Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So anywhere I can bring in magic to the session, I will. And I don't do cards for everybody. If they say they don't want them, then I don't do them, obviously. But most people, it's their favorite part because it's like, what do I need to know for the week? Let's go. And it's always a loving reminder. It's always a nice little nudge if they need that. And I do it for myself. Some days I'll wake up and I'll feel so scattered and not know where to focus, or my emotions are all out of whack. And so I'll pull a card that will give me a little reminder of what I need to know. And, some people, Christians, will open their Bible to the page that they need to read that day. And people will read tea leaves or, all kinds of stuff. So this is just one of those, I think it's just one of those tools that we can utilize that are there for us to help us know ourselves better and hone our intuition a little better. Well, and I think tarot and all these other things are it's a nice avenue to go to beyond what we see in the 3D world. We're so ingrained in it. Well, I saw it on the news on TV. That must be real. Well, there's other areas. This is what this whole show is about. Yeah. I want to know what lies beyond, the 3D visible world, because, as we know, there's, well, my studies of A Course in Miracles says that's the real world and we're living a dream and an illusion. Yeah. Regression. I go, whoa,
I,
that's a lot to think about.
I think the older I get, the more the question becomes clear of like, this is fake. Are you going to let yourself be pulled into the low vibes that this plane can sometimes provide you? Or are you going to do the work that you know you need to do and rise above it as often as possible and be the best version of yourself without getting, I mean, life's hard enough. I'm not turning on the news. Are you nuts? There's no way. Life is hard enough. You think I want to add to it? That's my thought process. I don't know, that's not everybody's, but if you can do your best to not be dragged down even more with all the other stuff going on in your real personal life with your family, with your friends, and with your job, and with your pets, and with your environment, then I think anywhere that we can have more compassion for ourselves is a good thing. I keep beating this drum, don't I? I just keep coming right back to the same truth. Turn off the news and love yourself, okay?
Oh, I like that. Yeah.
That's the whole episode, I think. But no, I agree with you. I think that this is, I hate to say like it's the Matrix, it's illusion. But I do believe that when you come right down to it, the spiritual you is the real you. And anything beyond that is just, extra.
Well, as Dr. Wayne Dyer was famous for saying, we're not a human having a spiritual experience, we're in a spiritual being having a human experience.
Absolutely, 100% believe that. Yeah.
Well, and there's a reason I don't even have a television. So.
Oh, see, that's great.
Yeah.
That's
well,
nice.
your kids probably definitely want to have a TV.
We do have a TV, but I've graduated. So before I had kids, I always had a TV in my bedroom, and since having kids, we do not.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just the worst. Fall asleep during the TV. The TV.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
No way. But yeah, I do still have a TV, but it's actually not on as much. You know why? It sounds good that the TV's not on, but the reason it's not on is because they have Minecraft on their iPads and they're just playing.
Oh yeah.
Right. They have no use for TV. They got a whole computer in their hands. It's very
modern
silly.
kids. Well, yeah. And one other thing too, we touched on this some, but you do past life regression with people. How can doing that actually help a person?
Oh, I love this question. See, now we're getting into the good stuff. I love this question. So let's say I'm going to give an example, and this is a real life example. So I had a client come to me with empowerment and confidence and wanting to call in their relationship, and somehow over the course of their sessions it came up that they are deathly afraid of water. And I was like, oh, well, did you almost drown? Like, I almost drowned as a kid. That actually happened in my life, so I can tell you exactly why. But she had no idea. She's like, I don't know, I've never been able to really be comfortable. I don't take baths, and it just makes me like nervous. And so we had been doing sessions for so long that I did feel comfortable. Normally I will not mention it unless they do first, but I knew who she was and the kind of person she was, and she would be receptive. So I said, if you want, if you can't figure out and it's really bothering you, like, we could do a past life and see if there's anything there. And she's like, yeah, absolutely. She was very excited. So we did it. And when I do a past life, the proper way to do a past life, I'm going to say this, I will definitely say this as a definitive statement. You do not ever want to feed the client information. You never want to say, are you a man or a woman? Because what if they're a leopard? What if not that they would be, but what if they're an alien? What if they're, you want the experience to be as that you are receiving in the information and they are giving you the information. So well, I just want to make that clear in case anybody ever thinks, well, you put that in her mind. No, she told me everything. So she went into this past life, and it turns out she had, like, in the 1920s or something, she was a man, and the car she lost control of the vehicle, and it had driven into a lake, and she was trapped, and she, obviously met her end there. But there's something about a past life that once you see the reason, once you have that information, once you have that knowing, you're able to then release it. They say knowledge is power. Knowledge is the first step, and all these things. And there's a reason that they say that. And also, past lives are very healing because it's never ever like you're like you would have the same experience as if you were going through it right in that moment. It's not traumatic at all. I've never had a situation where the client was like, I'm worse than when I did before I did it. It's never the case. It's always, oh, I feel so much better. Oh, I know that it's going to be different now. I'm healed, whatever. But it's almost a level of detachment as if you're watching it on a screen, but you're still gaining the benefits of the knowledge. So you don't feel like it's happening to you. Even if you're in the body, you're able to experience it kind of like a dream, kind of like how you wouldn't really feel the same way in the dream if it's happening as you would in real life as it's happening. I don't know if I'm making sense, but the point is it is a level of detachment to still be healing. It is a very cathartic experience to just know that your soul has traveled beyond what you can imagine, and that you are this expansive, magnificent being of light that just has these experiences is just an incredible acknowledgement for the client to have. And they can leave my office being able to take baths if they want, or understanding why they get in the same relationship over and over, or, heal the relationship with their mom, whatever it might be. It's different for everybody. Sometimes it's just curiosity. But there is a myth that anyone who does a past life just is like Marilyn Monroe or a celebrity or something. I will tell you from the real sessions that I've had with clients, I've never once had a celebrity. I've never once had somebody who was famous or Cleopatra. It's always been just a person, just a regular old person who's living a life. I did have one live a life as Carl Jung.
Oh.
That was interesting because I had never, ever had it before or since, but it got so specific to the color of gloves that his secretary wore, and how she'd always walk in and put her gloves in the drawer of the desk, and the conversations he'd have with her, and the fact that his boss always hated that his office was so dirty all the time. And I was like, oh, well, who's your boss? And he's like, it's Freud. And I said, what's your name? And he's like, I think I'm Carl Jung. And I was like, oh my goodness. It was very interesting. It was very cool. But yeah, so it's one of my favorite things to do. It's amazing.
I wonder if it's possible to do future life progression.
Now, can we talk about future life progression? Because I got stuff to say.
Yeah.
So, there's this book. I can't remember who wrote it. I will remember. But there's a book called Past Lives, Future Lives. And it is in the same vein as Journey of Souls, where this hypnotherapist takes clients to their future lives. Now, to be clear, no one can know the future as of now in this current plane of reality. No one can know the future because nothing is set in stone. But the idea of these future life progressions is, if your life is on the same trajectory that it's on now, what might that look like? And then we can project into a future life on the same track. Now, if we change something, it can change that way. But it's definitely something that a lot of people experience. I'm actually certified in future life progression. I haven't done a lot of them because it is such an innocuous idea, the future. So I haven't really presented it to a lot of people, but it is interesting to think about. It is interesting to play around with, and I can do it. If somebody asks me to do it, I definitely can. But yeah, it is really based on this idea that if you stay on the track that you're on, what might that look like? And really go explore, I guess.
Well, that's interesting because honestly, I didn't even know that was a thing. I just thought
you knew. Somehow you knew. Yeah, past life, future lives, in between lives. In between lives is very interesting too, because it's, as I said, it's about selecting the geography, what your body's going to look like, the lessons you need to learn, the lessons you just learned in your past life, the healing that takes place in that liminal space,
We are talking to Lynnsey Robinson, a hypnotherapist, intuitive guide, among many, many other things. I just thought I'd throw this in here because I saw on your website that your favorite things to talk about are kids, Scotland, and aliens. We already heard about the kids. Why aliens and Scotland?
Well, my soul is from Scotland, I'm pretty sure.
Oh.
I don't know. I've always had, how you have those places on earth that you just need to be, like that place is my soul home, 100%.
For me, it's Hawaii.
Yeah. So it is one of those places that I just I'm never going to get over it. It's just, I love it so much. And the aliens is just so fascinating to think about. I think that I definitely believe in aliens. Is this a safe space? Can I say that? I definitely believe in aliens. I believe in extraterrestrials. I think I've drawn a lot of parallels, and I'm about to talk real crazy right now, but I've drawn a lot of parallels between like the ancient gods, let's say, angels, the archetypes. Have you seen a depiction of an actual angel? It looks like an alien.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's certainly a lot of pictures of them, you know.
Not that I know what an alien looks like, but they are alien-like. They are very much not a human with wings. They are like a bunch of eyeballs and like 40 sets of wings and these designs. Anyway, I do believe that these depictions of ancient gods and these angels that came from the heavens in a fiery chariot could be higher dimensional beings that we just didn't know how to translate. And so who's to say? I love playing in the unknown because it gives my imagination a chance to work, and I don't want to ever know for sure anything. I want to be a student of life, and I want to learn, and I want to play in the unknown, and I want to play in my imagination and just have fun with it. Again, life's too hard. Why not? But yeah, I believe in aliens for sure.
I have had a couple dozen trance channels on here who have the Pleiadians come through, the Arcturians, some Lemurians, and on. And many galactic beings have spoken to me through these trance channels right on this show.
Right. Yeah. And it's incredible. So fun fact, you have a Pleiadian on your show right now, because I've talked to many different people who've said that that's where I'm from. So cheers.
Doesn't surprise me. Yeah. Amazing. So, I'm curious about this too. Your website is lynnsey.robinson.com. I'll put that link in the show notes. I want to find out about your Align Your Mind community that you have created.
So my Align Your Mind community is actually morphed. It is transformed. It used to be a membership that you would access from Kajabi, which was the platform. And it has now transformed into a beautiful butterfly that I call the Align Your Mind app, which you can download exclusively as its own app. So I'm very excited about it. As of now, it's only available on iOS, so Apple devices, but you can still get the mobile version if you just go to alignyourmind.passion.io or something. I can give you the link to, but if you're on the mobile browser, you can still access it. It's basically the place that I hold all of my best digital content. So it has you mentioned to the people that I do EFT. So I have a lot of EFT sessions on there. I have manifesting tips, hacks, the practices that I love to do, my favorite ones. I, of course, have a gigantic hypnotherapy vault where you can access all of my topics for really anything that you could possibly think of. We do live events every month. So there will be a certain energy around the event, a theme. And so this month, next month, October 4th, will be the next one. It's a free event. Anyone can join live, but the members, only members can see the replay. So if you miss it, you become a member, you can see the replay. But next month's theme is gentle shadow work, because I don't believe anything needs to be that hard. So we're gonna do some nice little gentle shadow work in October. November is gonna be more of that same vibe, different. We'll feel into the energy at that point. But yeah, live events, hypnotherapy, EFT, manifesting. God, there's more. Hold on. What else? There's so much more. I can't think of it all, but it's just a nice little playground where you can go and see what you're capable of.
Do you ever do any workshops online or live?
Yeah, that's what the monthly events are really for. Is I get together with anyone. Anyone can join for free, and we talk about the theme. So I'll do some hypnosis in that group based on what the theme is. Like I said, October is going to be shadow work, and then they get like a pre-packaged curated collection of content that is only available for members. So again, anyone can join the live and get the hypnosis and hear about the energy and get the journal prompts. I always do journal prompts as well. And then for the members, they get the package with all the content in it and the replay option. So yes, so I do that every month. At the beginning of the month, we go live and we just hang out, and it's really fun.
That sounds very cool. So, what would be your ideal client to work with?
Oh my goodness. Ideal clients. I should have a better way to say this by now, but really anyone who knows they are feeling the shift within. Usually we feel the shift within before it shows up, and we don't know what to do with the feelings that it feels like. Like, how do I navigate this? What do I do? What even is this? Is it real? Is it my imagination? All these thoughts and ideas. And at the same time, you have all these goals that are yet to be achieved, and you're tired of waiting for them, but you don't know what you're doing wrong. I'm your girl for sure. Like that's where I work the best. Is I find my best clients right at the precipice where they know they need to leap over to the next, over the chasm below, but they don't have the tools to do it. They don't even know what it looks like, and they know it's in the mind, and so that's where we go, and that's what we help. So really anyone who's ready for a shift and they're already feeling it, but they just don't know what to do or how to navigate it.
I think that's cool. You help them gain focus, vision-wise, energetically, and everything. Yeah,
That's... And then you have two minds working on your manifestation instead of just one. I hold the vision for all my clients as well. We manifest it together.
Well, and of course, we've got to talk about your podcast, Vibin It. You have a lot of episodes, yes. And you have a co-host too. How did you get into that?
Well, I actually, it was like in 2017, I got approached to do a radio show, like a live radio show. And they asked me, to do it. And I said, not without a co-host. Because I was a little in my fear, I was a little afraid. I didn't want all the attention on me, and I didn't know what I was going to talk about. I mean, I did, but anyway. So I called the first person I could think of, which is Kelsey, my co-host, and I said, I got approached to do this show, but I said I wouldn't do it unless I had a co-host. Would you want to do it with me? And she goes, oh my gosh, I've been manifesting a podcast for months now. And I said, well, there you go. Let's do it. So we got together and we created Vibin It, which is our podcast on self-love, manifesting, and for all the people who want to tap into that part of themselves, that spiritual part.
And you've been doing your show longer than me. I started mine in 2018. You got a year on me.
Well, we did switch once we switched platforms to we left the live radio show vibe and just went full podcast. So that happened in 2018. But yeah, we did about a year before that. We were just kind of doing the live radio thing. So anytime I go on podcasts, they're like, don't worry if you say something that you don't want to say, I can always edit it out. And like, that ship has sailed a long time ago. When I was doing live shows, like I had to stop worrying about putting my foot in my mouth. It's probably going to happen. It's just going to be okay.
Yeah, it's part of a live show, but it is a commitment to do this. But I'm sure it's the same for you. For me, this is a complete and total passion. There's a lot of work involved, but I believe that the extended ramifications in a positive, loving manner throughout the world are so well worth it. Absolutely.
Like it's one thing to do it to help others. But if I wasn't getting anything out of it, I don't think nothing is sustainable unless it feeds you as well. So I think for me, yes, it is wonderful that I get people telling me that it's changed their life and that they listen to every episode and that it feels like we're all hanging out together and having like a bestie conversation. I love that. For me, it is also a time for me to connect spiritually. It's also a time for me to feed that part of me that needs to talk about it. So I'm happy. It's like the best of both worlds. You get to help people and get their, feedback. And then you also get something beautiful out of it as well. So I love it. I absolutely do. I'm so glad that I said yes, because I almost didn't. There's another thing I almost said no to because I was afraid.
Yeah. Well, and I'm sure you feel the same way. It allows me to talk to amazing teachers and masters and authors and experts that I would never have the opportunity, on the other side of the world. And here we are, thanks to technology. And I'm talking to you. You are absolutely amazing. So, Lindsay, we're going to wind up here. What is the best way for people to connect with you? What is your website?
Well, LynnseyRobinson.com is the website. The quickest way to find me is Instagram or TikTok sometimes. I'm not super active on the socials, but I'm trying to be better. But I do see my notifications there a lot easier. It's easier to just send me a message. You can also download the Align Your Mind app and start getting the free stuff inside of there to start your mindset journey. If you haven't, wherever you are on your journey, it's good. And then, of course, listen to the podcast, Vibin It, weekly. I think Tuesdays is the day that we release.
Okay.
I just kind of show up and talk, and then they release. I show up and talk. Yeah, there's lots of different ways. Just search my name, Lynnsey Robinson. You'll find all the ways.
And I'll have the links in the show.
Yeah.
And so, just very, very cool stuff. Thank you for doing what you do for the world. I know your clients and yourself are benefiting so beautifully from all of it. Thank you, Lindsay.
Hey, back at you. Thank you. And yeah, I'm so happy to be here today. And if there's one thing I want people to know is just try to be a little kinder, hold space, because we're all doing our best.
This has been another episode of World Awakenings, the fast track to enlightenment with host Carl Gruber, a certified law of attraction life coach. We welcome you to tune in to each and every episode of World Awakenings as we open your mind, your heart, and your eyes to the fact that the world's population is now, more than ever, awakening to the truth of all things spiritual, metaphysical, and enlightening, and just how much they play an all-important role in our moment-to-moment daily life. Much love and light to you, my friend, and thank you for tuning into World Awakenings.